the 4 reading exercises that are available for you to choose this week, and you'll just pick one of these to turn in for your video. So here is number 1. And here's number 2. Here is number 3. And here is number 4. And just like in previous weeks, the transposition is not required for the reading exercise, but if you would like to do the transposition, that is definitely an option and something that would really help you to practice for the other exercises where transposition is required. So now we're getting over to the harmonizations, and as we've now started adding some of the secondary chords to our repertoire for these harmonizations, these are definitely getting a little bit trickier. I would say that the harmonizations is probably the biggest learning curve increase throughout this semester. So for these now, instead of demonstrating all of them and just playing them through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of a practice strategy to go through for each one. And I'm just going to show you an example. And the one that I'm going to use is the Concerto for Horn. So the second harmonization exercise that is on page 258. So here is how I would go through this one. I'm going to go through it step by step. First, I would go through and I would just block out the chords that are listed above the melody part. So we've got a C chord, then an A minor chord, then a D minor chord over F. So that means the F is going to be the bass note, aka first inversion, to G. Okay, then I'm going back to C. That's familiar. I've got the D minor over F, a familiar chord, G, C over E, A minor, D over F, a G7 chord, C. So then I'm going to kind of think about the Roman numerals for each of the chords. So you could kind of do this process either way, depending on if you are doing the ones that have the pop chord symbols, like the letter names of the chords, or the Roman numerals written in. So I'm thinking my C chord, well, that's a 1 chord. My A minor chord, well, that's a 6 chord. D minor over F, that's a 2-6. G is 5. 1, 2, 6, 5, 1, 6, 6, 2, 6, 5, 7, 1. And while I'm doing that, I'm also kind of trying to notice how the chords move. Are they closer together? Are they a little bit further apart? We've got a jump down by a third here, a jump down by another third with the bass note, and then this D minor over F to the G, those are very similar chords. Then to the C, and going through the same thing. Now I'm going to just play through the melody really quick. So again, I'm just trying to kind of notice maybe any interesting patterns. I can see that really it's mostly stepwise. There's not very many big leaps except for in the end of the first line right there. So when I transpose, I'm going to be thinking about Ti, Re, Sol, I find that thinking about solfege is helpful, but again, that is definitely personal preference. So now I'm going to put it together in the original key. Grace note at the end there, totally intentional. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the same thing in the transposed key. I like to think about harmonies first. So my first chord is going to become a D major chord. Then I'm going to go down to a 6th chord in D major, which would be B minor. Then I have that 2-6, which in D would be an E6 chord. And then to 5, which would be A. And then pretty easy here, D, E minor over G, A, D over F sharp, B minor, E minor over G, A7, D. Now I'm going to try transposing the melody. And when I'm focusing on the melody transposed, there's 2 main things to think about. First of all, the key signature, and then second of all is really just following the pattern of steps and skips. Again, other than that one leap near the end of the first line, you can really easily follow along and just notice, okay, are we going down by skips, steps, etc. And I think that makes it really easy. So then I want to put it together nice and slowly. Again, these you do not need to rush. You do not need to, worry, but, I would definitely encourage you to go through and do this whole process. It is very easy to think that you're saving yourself time by just jumping right in and trying to do it both hands together without looking at the chords, all those kind of things. You're going to save yourself so much more time if you just do 5 minutes of practice on this first, and then you can basically just do one take of it for your video. Again, if you have like a little fumble here or there, like that'll be okay. But if you try to jump in and then you spend 20 minutes trying to make a video because you just keep making mistakes and you just can't get it right, that's going to actually waste a lot of your time if you were to just take those, few minutes and kind of notice everything that's going on. And I think that really will make it a lot easier. So here we go again, not going too fast here. I don't know why I always get that wrong at the end. I just like doing that little grace note. Anyways, that's what we'll call that. So you could choose any one of these excerpts or any one of these harmonizations. Any one of them would work, but that's the process that I would recommend for going through and working through each of these. If you were to choose the Vive l'amour or Bingo on page 259, just be really careful with the chord selection. Again, as we get into especially the secondary chords, there are a lot more right ways to do it, but a lot of wrong ways to do it. So again, there are multiple right options, but there are also some ways that are definitively wrong. And so you need to think about not only the chords that are in each measure that are represented by the chord tones in the melody, but also how they go from one to the other. So again, A lot of times if we have that 5-7, we're going to have a 1 coming after it. You know, that would be sort of an authentic cadence point. And so thinking about those kind of rules of harmony will also be helpful. Okay, so last but not least, we have a harmonization with two-hand accompaniment. So as usual, I'll go ahead and play through both parts, and you can play along with me, sort of accompany what I am doing either with the melody or with the harmony. So here we go from the beginning. And now here is the two-hand accompaniment. Ready, go. G, D7, D7, G, look at what comes next, to E minor, to A minor, to D7, to G. And this would be a great one if you want to challenge yourself and try doing a transposition. They're suggesting that you could transpose this to F. That would be a really great opportunity and activity to try. So that is what you have for this week. So your assignments are to do the A-flat scales, the vocal warm-up in those 3 keys going from F sharp to A-flat, and then you're going to do one of the 4 reading exercises, no transposition, and then one of the 5 harmonizations with the transposition. As always, just let me know if there is something in this video that you would like to have demonstrated, if there's something that you feel would be helpful. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and see you next time.